Rebecca was born in a small village where whispers carried louder than voices, and where a girl's worth was tied to her silence and obedience. She was known for her soft steps, the way her eyes carried rivers of emotions she never spoke aloud. Her mother often said, "Rebecca, your silence is your strength. Guard it. A woman's purity is her crown." But Rebecca's silence was not always strength. Sometimes, it was a prison. She was 22 now, untouched, unkissed, and her heart yearned for something she could never name out loud. She wanted to love. She wanted to be seen. She wanted someone to embrace her, not for her virginity, but for her soul. That someone was David. David came into her life like a wounded bird. He was not from her village. He was from the city, a failed musician who carried his broken guitar like a lost dream. His father had thrown him out after he refused to study law. His mother wept for him but could not change her husband's rage. And so, David had wandered into the village, hungry, tired, and defeated. Rebecca first saw him one evening, sitting under the old mango tree near the stream. His head was bowed, his fingers strumming a tune that carried both sorrow and hope. The sound touched her heart so deeply she almost cried. She wanted to speak to him, but she could not. Her tongue froze. Instead, she stood behind the tree and listened. That night, she dreamt of him. Over the weeks, Rebecca found reasons to pass by the mango tree every evening. She never spoke to David. She only watched him from afar, sometimes leaving a calabash of water or a small plate of food where he sat. He never saw her place them, but he always found them. David began to wonder who his silent helper was. One evening, he called into the air, "Whoever you are, thank you. You keep me alive." Rebecca hid behind the tree, her hands trembling, her eyes wet. She wanted to step out, to embrace him, to tell him her name. But fear held her. The fear of gossip. The fear of losing her crown of silence. So she kept loving him in secret. One day, David began to sing a song he had written. The words floated through the village air. "I dream of a face unseen. Eyes that weep for me in silence. Hands that feed me though they never touch. Oh, secret love, where do you hide?" Rebecca knew then that he had felt her presence. She wanted to tell him, "It is me. I am here." But she did not. Instead, she wept that night, her tears soaking into her pillow. She felt the weight of sacrifice, the sacrifice of her voice, her longing, her need for embrace. It was the Harmattan season when David finally saw her. She had gone to place food under the mango tree when he stepped out suddenly. His eyes met hers. She froze like a bird caught in a trap. "You," he whispered. "It's you." Rebecca could not answer. Her lips trembled. David stepped closer. "Why do you hide from me? Why do you give and run away?" Her eyes filled with tears. She tried to speak, but her voice broke into silence. "Please," David said, his voice raw. "Don't leave me in darkness. Say something. Let me know your heart." Rebecca shook her head and turned to run, but David gently caught her wrist. The touch was not forceful. It was tender, trembling, like a man holding on to hope. "Rebecca," he whispered. "Is that your name?" She nodded. And in that simple nod, the world changed. From that day, they began to meet secretly under the mango tree. Rebecca could not say much, but her silence spoke more than words. She listened to David's songs, her eyes shining with unspoken love. One evening, David took her hands and placed them on his chest. "Feel this," he said. "It beats for you." Rebecca trembled. No one had ever touched her like this, not with desire, but with reverence. Tears rolled down her face. She leaned into his arms, and for the first time in her life, she felt the power of embrace. It was not sinful. It was not shameful. It was healing. In that embrace, Rebecca understood love. It was not about kisses or bodies. It was about hearts that held each other through pain. But love in silence is fragile. The village soon began to whisper. They saw Rebecca walking near the mango tree too often. They saw David's eyes brighten whenever she passed by. Her mother warned her, "Rebecca, stay away from that boy. He is lost. He will destroy your crown." Her father thundered, "If you bring shame to this family, I will disown you." Rebecca cried in secret. She wanted to obey her parents, but her heart had already given itself away. David, too, was torn. "Rebecca," he said one night, "I don't want to ruin your life. Maybe I should leave." Rebecca shook her head fiercely, her tears falling on his shirt. She clung to him, silent but desperate. She could not say the words, but her embrace begged him to stay. One evening, the village chief called David and warned him, "Leave this girl alone. She is pure. You are a broken man. Do not stain her." David went to the mango tree that night, his heart heavy. Rebecca was already there, waiting, her face pale with dread. "Rebecca," he said softly, "I must go." She shook her head violently, her sobs breaking the night. "I love you," David confessed, his voice trembling. "I love you more than life. But love is not always enough. Sometimes, love means sacrifice." Rebecca collapsed into his arms, clutching him with all the strength in her fragile body. He held her tightly, their tears mixing. "This embrace," he whispered, "is all I can give you. Remember it. Let it heal you when I am gone." And before the dawn, David left the village. Rebecca never saw David again. She waited by the mango tree every evening, her eyes searching the horizon, her heart breaking silently. Years passed. Suitors came, but she turned them all away. They could not understand her silence, her sadness. Her parents wept for her, calling her stubborn. But Rebecca held on to her secret love, the memory of a man who gave her the power of embrace. Sometimes, at night, she would press her hands to her chest and whisper his name. And though her lips never said much in life, her soul carried a song only David would understand. Rebecca died young, her face peaceful, as though she had found rest. On her grave, the villagers carved the words, "She loved in silence. She lived in sacrifice. She found peace in the power of embrace." And in another town, far away, David played his guitar in a quiet street corner, his voice hoarse but strong. "I dream of a face unseen. Eyes that weep for me in silence. Hands that fed me though they never touched. Oh, secret love, I still carry you."